Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, the Minister Jonathan Simmons, and we thank God for all those of you who have decided to join us here on the live broadcast on any of these stations: Facebook, YouTube. We're also on Twitter TV and on Twitch broadcasting live. And for those of you who say, I don't have any of those things, but I have my TV, no problem. Go to Roku, go to Tiki Live, and hit the Phoenix Entertainment channel. And bam, you will find us broadcasting to you right here, right now. You can see there if you want to contact me, hit me up, jsimmons@realtalksports.net, or simply give me a call on the cell, 678-410-9833. Well, when we do this broadcast, we bring on one of the most beautiful women in the way of sports talk radio and TV. The lovely queen herself, Miss Tree Dolman, is in the building.
Hello, how are you doing? Hi, everybody.
Hello, hello, and hello. Hopefully you had a good weekend, Miss Tree.
Yes, I did. What about you?
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all. Saturday's supposed to be a day of rest, but I did do some resting, but like everybody else, housework, and I even got some exercise in. My new apartment complex that I live in has a nice little workout center, and I took full advantage of it on Saturday. Got a nice workout again, first time in a while.
Oh, good. It's nothing like a good workout.
Oh no, yeah. Plus, as you know, the spring is coming, and we always want to be in good shape. I have my official Las Vegas casino shades tonight, so
Okay.
we are ready to rock and to roll. Yeah, so it's just great. And I know that Tyrone, I think, will be joining us a little bit later on in the broadcast. And also, D. Orlando Ledbetter is scheduled to join us as well. And I have a special guest that's going to be joining us. He's the husband of actually the young lady who is my sales manager for AIB TV for our monthly show, The Spirit of Sports. So he told me, and she assured me, he is a great sports aficionado. So we're going to have him on a little bit to talk a little football with us later on in the broadcast. Hey, did you watch our Atlanta Hawks last night?
Did I? Of course. They played against my Detroit Pistons.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
You
Detroit
know I watched
basketball.
the game. And
Yes.
can I say how fabulous the game was? I mean, they were playing some ball. I mean, the lead kept changing from one team to another. I mean, both teams were fighting that game.
Yeah, so I didn't realize that since the first of the year, your Detroit basketballers have been balling out. I think after last night's game, 9-2 since right after the week after my birthday, which is the middle of January. So kudos to the Pistons for trying to make a surge and get this team turned around.
Oh yes, I mean I've loved the team, and we've just had a lot of injuries like a lot of other teams, and then we also have a very young team. But one thing I love about my Detroit Pistons is that they play hard. They give their all when they go on the court, and even though we have a very not so good record this year, but it's definitely not because of effort. Whenever you watch them play, you see that they give their all on the court. And even though we have losses, it's not like we're getting blown out by teams. You know, we're definitely hanging with the best of them. And so it definitely gives me hope for a promising future.
No doubt. And your head coach over there is a guy that has experience with Toronto, certainly brought them to the brink. They had one of the top teams in the NBA, got fired, and they brought in Kawhi Leonard. And of course, they moved on. Toronto later on the next year won the NBA title. But yeah, man, you got a great coach, and you got a team like a very young team, a team that has the potential to do some stuff. So we look forward to seeing them. I was disappointed, to be very candid. I mean, I know it's Detroit and your team, but was disappointed at the Hawks blowing an opportunity to finally right the ship and get to 500 and really put themselves in a position where they would be in the spot to move on into postseason. I think that would have put them actually into the either 8 or 9 spot had they won last night. But another tough loss. And now the other problem too is when you're game under 500, when you lose a game, now you have to win 2 more games to get back to 500. So yeah, I think it was just an opportunity loss.
Well, it definitely was. And don't get me wrong. I mean, both teams had opportunities to win the game. There was 1.6 seconds left. And then the Hawks fouled Cade Cunningham. He made his 2 free throws. And so then there's still 1.6 seconds on the clock. And then the Pistons fouled John Collins. He made 1 free throw. Had he made 2 free throws, then you guys actually would have been the victors. But it was just silly fouls, and so then when John Collins scored that one basket, then we went to overtime, and then in overtime the Pistons just went to work, and it was just bye bye Hawks. But both teams definitely had opportunities to win that game, and those fouls at the end definitely cost the Hawks, and also the Pistons not making a lot of their free throws. So
Right.
they had a lot of free throw opportunities that they could not capitalize on. And had they capitalized on those free throw opportunities, the game wouldn't even have been as close as it was. So that was a good thing for the Hawks that it did keep them in the running. So both teams, like I said, definitely had opportunities to win that game. It was definitely a great game.
Yeah, great game. And unfortunately for the Hawks, their two big guns kind of could not get it done late. Trey had one of his poor shooting nights of the year. I think at one point he was I want to say it was 4 or 5 of 16 from the floor. So it's just you can't do that. And then John Collins had an opportunity, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, to win the game late and also was not able to do so. So it's always rough when your top guns are not able to get the job done. Those are the guys that you expect. Those are the guys you kind of pay the big money. And I know it doesn't happen. You can't win them all, but certainly you expect the ball in the hands of your two top players that you would able to get the job done. But unfortunately, Hawks were not able to get it done, and
Yeah,
it just now they have to regroup and keep going, and hopefully and
that's true.
prayerfully they'll be able to get into this. They really what I'm trying to see them avoid really is the whole playing game. You really just want to try to avoid that at all costs because I think that that kind of one and done is kind of like the NBA, the NCAA's. Like I said, you really want to try to avoid that any way possible. But we shall see.
I mean, yeah, and like I said, we know John Collins, had he made both free throws, then the
Right.
Hawks would have won the game. But we all know how hard it is. Well, I don't want to say how hard, but it is very difficult to make free throws all the time when you just any time in the game. It's tough to do. So the fact that he did make one, at least, he tied the game and the Hawks were able to go to overtime. But yes, it would have been great for the Hawks had he made both free throws, and then there would not have been an overtime, and then the Hawks would have won. And as I love the Hawks, and I always root for the Hawks unless they're playing against my Detroit Pistons or the Golden State Warriors. So unfortunately, they were playing my Pistons last night, but I still want them to continue to win games, and I definitely want to see them in the playoffs, and I want to see them go far. So I'm still rooting for the Hawks as well, just not against my Pistons.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Like you said, I think that they're going to, get into the playoffs. I think they have the potential to make some noise. There needs some consistency. One of the things that we saw was Bogey. He is kind of that third wheel when he's on. The Hawks are really a tough out, especially when he's shooting well from the outside. And he's a clutch guy. I mean, he had that big
Yeah,
3-pointer late to keep the Hawks in the game. Made some big plays, but unfortunately at the end made a dumb play. Bad foul.
it was.
you know,
That was a bad
I mean,
foul.
it's a bad. I mean, because Tree. What do they tell you? If the guy hits a shot over you, you tip your cap to him, but you don't foul. You just can't.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
it was two bad fouls at the end of the game with 1.6 seconds left on the clock. Both of those fouls were dumb. And then when Bogey fouled Cade Cunningham, I mean, it was just like it was funny because listen to the game and Dominique Wilkins were like, "What are you doing, Bogey?" It was
yeah, I mean
just
that's the
like,
one thing you're right.
why,
That's right. You can't. That's the one thing you can't do, yo. You just can't do it. But like I said, unfortunately, that's what it came down to. Cade Cunningham was clutch, and the two Hawks big guns actually were not able to get it done, which we thought they were. But that's the way it goes. I mean, you have good games and bad games, but you see how important it's going to be down the stretch for John Collins. I know he's just coming back from injury for Trey Young, and certainly for Bogey to continue playing the way they played in the end of the postseason. Let's take a look here at the stats here. We got them up here. It is John Collins, actually a good game overall, 7 of 13 from the floor. He had a total of 11 rebounds, 17 points for him. We take a look at Trey Young. Again, a horrible shooting night for him, one of his worst of the year. 5 of 20 for the floor, only 2 of 7 from three-point range. And the other thing, surprisingly, from Trey, who was about a 90% foul shooter, only 2 of 4 from the stripe. And that's where normally he makes his money, is being able to make those plays from the foul line. So Trey, again, just having an off night. Those do happen. Bogey, 8 of 19 from the floor. But again, a bad shooting night from the Hawks overall from 3 points. Bogey 2 of 11 from 3 points, 4 of 4 from the line. He actually was the high scorer for the Hawks with 22 points. But unfortunately, like you said, a couple of bad fouls kind of negated a lot of the good work that he did during the ball game. So again, the Hawks are just going to have to play the way they played last season. They're going to have to play they're going to have to play team ball. They're going to have to continue to move the ball around. And I think, and I hate to, I mean, I know the coach knows what he's doing, but I think he's got to play these younger guys a little bit more. Guys like Jalen Johnson. I'd like to see some minutes out of the hometown heroes, Sharif Cooper. What are your thoughts about getting some of the younger guys kind of in the mix?
Mm, I don't think so yet. Just because when he does put them on the floor and just watching how they play, I don't think they're ready at this point in the season. So if he was going to start working them into the lineup, that should have been something that he did early on. Right now, we know that it's crunch time. It's go hard or go home. And so every minute, every point counts. And so to try to get these younger guys into the offense and the defense and just to get them on the court just to help out, which to me, they just make too many young guy mistakes and turnovers. So I don't think so at this point. I think next year we'll probably start seeing more of them, but I don't think too much of this year that we will.
Well, Teresa, that the young guys sit on the bench. Let them stay right there. Don't do a thing. Well, like you said, I just think that it's important. I guess this reminds me a lot of bit of a Kangaroo. He looked very skittish, but the more playing time he got, he started rounding the form. And I think that's the other thing. Tree, I don't have to tell you, if you don't get a lot of playing time, you can't get in your rhythm. And I know it's crunch time, but she said no, she don't agree with that neither.
Well,
I
no,
don't know.
I mean, I get what you're saying as far as on the court, but what we have to realize is they practice. So the coaches see what they do in practice. And in practice, they are going against their teammates and Trey and John Collins and everybody else. So the coaches are seeing what they're doing in practice. So they are
Yeah.
getting their warm-ups in and they're getting their workouts in practice. I mean, look at Cam Reddish. He was riding the bench and always on the bench. But when he got his opportunity, because he stayed ready, he came out and he dominated. So that's the token for any professional athlete. You have to stay ready. So you get your reps in practice. And even if you have to go and do things outside of practice, which every professional athlete should be doing, even not just professional athletes, if you want to be great, then you need to do things outside of practice as well. And then when your number is called, you're ready to go and dominate. I mean, the game is the game.
Well, we're going to see what happens with these Hawks. Hopefully and prayerfully, like I said, they can do what they need to get done. Bogey, speaking of him, before we wrap up and head into commercial break, one thing about Bogey is he really, this idea, him coming off the bench, the sixth man, has been stellar. No disrespect to Lou Williams, but obviously Lou's towards the end of his career now. But Bogey, that coming off the bench has been spot on. I think he's been averaging close to 19 points a game since he's been coming off the bench for Kevin Huerter. And again, like the traditional top big six man, even though he's not starting the game, he's ending the game. And that's how you can tell who the coach, as you know, really wants to be in. In crunch time, Bogey is in there. So, again, kudos to him being willing to make that shift and grabbing that six-man role and making his own. So we look forward to him to doing more good stuff in the latter part of the season. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick little commercial break. I hope you're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show, watching the Real Talk Sports Show as we broadcast to you live here from just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. Like I said, hopefully we can get our commercials on. We're having, anyway, we hope to do that in just a little moment. But until then, we'll just keep on kind of talking here. Yeah, so.
Well, since we're on a little pause, I have to say something. So I know.
Go ahead. I'll let the screen be yours. Go ahead, ma'am.
In the past, I congratulated my alma mater because at that time they were the only team in the NCAA Division I believe, in all of the country that had their men's and women's basketball program that was undefeated at home. We still have more games to play at home, but I can say that our season is finished as far as our regular season, and we finished undefeated at home for both our men and our women's basketball teams. So shout out to Middle Tennessee. Our coach for the women's basketball team, he got his 400th win, and the men's coach got Coach of the Year for the Conference USA. And then, of course, we had a ton of players. One of the females got 6 Men of the Year. We had, I think 6 or 8 players that got conference recognition awards. And then with our men's program, I want to say it was 3 or 4 players that got Conference USA recognition awards. So shout out and congratulations to Middle Tennessee men's and women's basketball programs, and good luck in the tournament.
No doubt, it's going to be good stuff. Again, kudos to you and to your alma mater for doing what they needed to do here as far as doing this, because I think at one point, I think what they're both 9-0 or 10-0 at home, both teams.
No, the men finished 15-0 and the women finished 13-0
Wow.
at home.
Wow, yeah, I was looking at an old clip where I guess it was on social media where they're posting, "Hey, we're undefeated." At that point, they were both about 10-0. Well, yeah, big shout out to them, and good to see them do their thing. Okay, guys, if you want to follow us on social media, we'll pop it up on the screen here. Follow us anywhere on social media simply by @Real Talk Sports 7. Go to our YouTube page, please, and subscribe, and then ding, hit the little bell so the notifications will come on to let you know when we are going to be back on the air again. So please, man, please, sir, tune in to us and check us out on all these social media platforms. And we're very, very thankful to those of you who are listening to us, watching us here again. You can catch us on all of these platforms. I'll get them to you again. We are also on Facebook Live, YouTube Live. We are on Twitch, and we are also on the Roku channel. It's the Tiki Live channel. You go to that and put in Phoenix Entertainment Group, and voila, 8 o'clock on Tuesday, you'll find us broadcasting to you right here and right now. So, again, we're very appreciative to all those of you who have been watching us on this platform or whatever platform you're on. Also, we appreciate those of you watching on the replay, because we get a lot of people that view us on the replay, and we certainly appreciate you for doing that as well. Like I said, just a lot of stuff going on. While we're on basketball, and this one's kind of a tough one because of the situation. This is a young lady I'm sure you're familiar with, being a basketball player, male or female. Brittany Griner, one of the great WNBA players in the last decade, finds herself locked up in Russia and facing what potentially could be a very harsh penalty. What are your thoughts about that? Who do you think might or should be able to get involved to try to get her out of there?
Well, first of all, my heart and my prayers go out to Brittany Griner and her family, because it is definitely not a good situation to be in. And honestly, at this point, I don't think there's anybody that can help get her out, just because of what we are going through with Russia and their rules and just how they govern over there. It is completely different from how we do things here in the United States. So it's definitely not a good situation to be in right now, especially with all of the things that have been going on in the world. And so I just really hope that she will get released and be able to come home, because that's not a good situation to be in. So my heart is definitely with her and her family, and I'm hoping that she gets to come home safely.
Yeah, I think that's everyone's prayer that that this will get resolved sooner rather than later. Definitely a very tough situation. One thing that we talked about on this show repeatedly is the idea of athletes, or anybody for that matter, being aware of kind of what they need to do and how they need to go about their business. And it really is important that we learn how to understand kind of where we are in the world. And I think that sometimes we just don't. We think that every place is like the United States. It certainly is not. So again, we hope and pray that she's able to somehow extricate herself from this situation. And again, that's our prayer for her and our prayer for her family. Speaking of, let's go ahead and get our. Like I said again, when we do this show, not only do we have a queen, but we have a champion, 2-time Super Bowl champion, and Fort Valley State Sports, Hall of Fame, the one and only Tyrone Poole is in the building. Welcome back, sir.
Hello, everybody. How we doing? How we doing, Miss Tree? How you doing, Minister? Hello, everybody watching and listening. Hope everybody had a great day.
Yeah, so good stuff here, no doubt. It has been going on. So let's go ahead and see if we can go to social media really quick before we get you on here. Let's see here if we can grab it. There's our man Todd saying, "Preacher, the big dude that Atlanta traded away is killing it." I'm not sure who he's talking about, but I don't know if he means Cam Reddish. I mean, that's the only big dude I'm aware of that they traded away. So Todd, hopefully you can clarify. And hey, salute to Cam. He did have a good game. He scored about 17 points, but they made it seem like I saw the headlines like he had this epic game. Well, I mean, he scored what was it, 28 in postseason for Atlanta last year. So I mean, I'm not mad at
Yeah.
anybody, but I mean, 17 points. How epic is that? I don't get it.
Well, it's just because the Knicks are finally giving him some playing time. So to them, it's epic because, hello, everybody's been saying, why are you benching Cam Reddish? Play him. He's going to get you points. And so now I'm happy that the Knicks are finally putting him in the rotation. They're giving him some playing time, and now they see what he's able to do.
Oh, no doubt. Tyrone, we'll go to you quick. I don't know if you heard the question, but WNBA star Brittany Griner finds herself right now battling potential long-term jail time in Russia. What are your thoughts about that, if any, about maybe who should intervene, and your thoughts just in general?
I really have no thoughts right now about that. It's too. Yeah, I can't speak on that right now. They're just honest. But all I can say is, just this day and age, man, you just got to be careful where you are, where you go, and that's all I can say on that right now.
No doubt. Like I said, again, our hope and our prayer is that she was able to get out of that situation. It's very, very difficult. You know, you don't even know what to say because of the situation. Allegedly, what happened? She has a lot of people who normally would smoke. They use the vaping type cigarettes, and allegedly she had CBD oil, which now again everybody pointed out, hey, it's legal in her home state here in the United States, but when we're traveling, I think that any athlete that has traveled, they do tell you, if I'm not mistaken, before you leave, hey, whatever you're thinking, don't do anything. Because in a foreign country, the rules and regulations are a lot different. So I'm not sure, what her thinking was behind, carrying what she carried. And the other thing too is that right now we're in a kind of an odd time with Russia being at war with the Ukrainians and with so many of the United States and their allies kind of being there. It almost, to me, has the makings of almost like one of these political spy movies where they might be trying to leverage holding Brittany Griner for the United States and maybe some of his allies to maybe change their approach in the way that Russia has been punished economically. So I think there's more to this than meet the eye. I think a lot of us won't know what the heck is going on with this. But again, just hopefully and prayerfully for her family's sake and her sake that she'll be able to get out of there sooner rather than later. All right, guys, we want to take a quick...
I do want to say
Go ahead.
to what you just said that she's actually been detained for about a month now.
Right,
so,
that's true.
It's just now coming out here about it because her family wanted to keep it quiet because they did not want it to become a political thing. But she's actually been detained for about a month now.
I did read that. Good looking out on that, and that again makes it just makes it all the more seeming that there is some shenanigans going on. I hate to use the word shenanigans, but something going on that may be political in nature. Because again, I mean, we're at war, and we'll talk a little bit about why. And Tree, you might be able to talk a little bit about this. Why so many female athletes, finding themselves going overseas to play. But we're going to take a quick break. And we'll be back with more of the Real Talk Sports Show in just a moment. Don't go nowhere, please.
Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our #1 priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net.
This is OJ Howard with Real Talk Sports.
What's up, guys? This is Tim Tebow. You're listening to Real Talk Sports.
This is Charles Woodson. Let me grab the mic. You ready? This is Charles Woodson with Real Talk Sports. Hey, it's your boy JB Smooth with Real Talk Sports.
In honor of Mr. JB Smooth, I will put on momentarily my Las Vegas Casino Shades. He has been featured in multiple advertisements for Caesars of Las Vegas. So big shout out to JB Smooth. Hopefully, brother, I'll be out to Las Vegas to see you sooner rather than later. I've never been to Vegas. Have you?
Really?
No, I haven't.
Oh wow.
Wow.
You should go.
Tyrone, have you been to Vegas, sir?
Yes, sir.
I knew that. I knew he was going to say yes.
Pretty much being playing a professional sport. Probably visit every state, sort of city, major city, should I say, and then just vacationing. So I have.
So basically, what y'all telling me, I'm the only like untraveled, unprivileged person here. Because I mean, y'all look at me like you ain't been to Vegas, yo.
I didn't want to say that, but yeah, definitely, get some traveling in your system. You'll love it.
Exactly.
I mean, I guess what let me know that I was in trouble is that Tyrone, before he said anything, when I asked him that, this his whole face was like, "What is the preacher asking me?" Of course, I've been here.
Right.
And she was like, "What? You never been there?" But as you can see, I'm prepared. These are what my boy wore. De Niro got them big square boy shades from casinos. I'm ready to go. And OG now I got the little pencil mustache. That's how the OGs do it out there. So I can go ahead and put that money. Oh, never mind. I can't. I guess in Atlanta we can't talk about no betting right now because we got a situation here in the A. It does appear that one of our star players is in some trouble. And before we talk about that, I'm going to bring on a young man who I just met recently, but I know him through his lovely wife, who is actually my account manager at AIB, which you guys may or may not know. We do a monthly sports show called The Spirit of Sports. The Mr. Juan Roman, a guy from the Northeast like me, is now in the building. Sir, welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show.
How's everyone doing? Could you hear me pretty good?
We can hear you loud and clear, sir.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay. How you guys doing?
How you doing?
I feel fortunate to have met, Reverend Simmons, and I appreciate being on this show right now. I'm also looking to, do other things here in Atlanta. But I know that we're going to talk about sports in the NFL, and it's still early. I know it's still early. This is all new to me. So, please excuse me if I seem a little nervous.
That's good. We want you a little nervous. Your first time out, this is how we break you in, bro. This is how we do it. Yeah, we got you got them jitters, but you know how it is. I mean, there's an excitement. If you didn't have no jitters, you might come on here and be like this. So I'm happy you got got a few little butterflies in there to get that energy going. That's good for you. Well, look, we've been talking about. I guess I got him too excited. I don't know what happened.
By the way, man.
Taking me off the screen too.
This tree away.
Well, excitement here. Hang on a second. We kind of shift around here. I'm used to Miss Tree being next to me. There we go. Okay, now we're cooking with grease here. All right. Let's see if we can get Mr. Rowan back on. I think he was having a little problem with his mic, so I'm going to try to get him back on here again. And there he is. Okay, that's the way you want it, brother. Horizontal. Stay right there. Don't move. We bring you back on. Okay. So here's a tip I'll give you. So it seems like you might have either no headsets on or wireless headsets, which unfortunately, when we try to do it like this, it gets like a lot of clicking noise. So do you have either one of those going on or no?
No, I'm actually broadcasting through my phone. I didn't go through the laptop.
Okay.
So you should be able to hear me clearly as I see everyone pretty clear.
Yeah, so next time, just FYI, and I should let you know, anytime you're using the phone, it's really important to use the headset versus just the phone itself, because what happens is it almost kind of gets like a little echo going on through the system, but that's okay. That's my fault. Next time we'll get you completely prepped. All right, brother. I'm gonna ask everybody in the panel what the thoughts are about the NFL announcement of a technically 1 year, but right now an indefinite suspension of star Falcons wide receiver Mr. Calvin Ridley. Ladies first, Tree, your thoughts about Calvin's situation?
Well, my thoughts are pretty simple. everybody that plays in the NFL, which Tyrone definitely can speak towards this. Every player knows because the NFL definitely tells every player that they are not allowed to bet. And so even though he was sitting out of games, he still placed bets, and he even said it himself. He know he was wrong. He knew that what he did was wrong. So he is definitely suffering the consequences of his actions. And I know that he placed a bet for $1,500, and now he's losing at least $11 million for that $1,500 bet. So it's what comes with the consequences of doing what you're not supposed to do. Do I think that we all deserve grace? Yes, we all deserve grace. And I know that he bet for the Falcons to win, which it definitely would look a lot worse had he bet for the Falcons to lose. But I do see why the NFL is punishing him like this because, again, he is a player and he has inside information. And so it's not the same as if you or I were going and placing a bet. So I do see why they are punishing him with this stiff punishment of at least a year. And I'm hoping that after the year that he does get some grace and that they will allow him to play again.
Tyrone Poole, you played in the NFL under the shield itself. Your thoughts about Mr. Ridley's situation?
Yeah, rules are rules, just like Tree said. Rules are rules. No ifs, ands, and buts around it, man. Just like you talked about, beginning to show the NBA, the WNBA player. You got to know the rules. The rules are the rules. There's no exceptions. And I just hope that he understands he's giving up. A little bit. He tried to win a little bit to give up a lot. Meaning, if he's suspended this year, what he's done, actually, I think the Falcons can really get flat out, don't have to pay him the rest of his contract. I don't know what his contract says, but I do know that there are clauses detrimental, to the team or what have you. But if he does lose all that money, if he does come back, he's coming back up under the veteran minimum. And he's got to earn that money back. So, he kind of put himself in a bad seat right here as far as financially.
Juan, your thoughts about Mr. Calvin Ridley and him now having to take a minimum 1-year vacation from the NFL?
Well, my thoughts are that what the NFL are doing is similar to Major League Baseball. So when you think about the players that have gotten caught, and I'm going to throw a name out there that everyone's familiar with, which is Pete Rose, betting on his team when he already knew what the rules are. So I'm pretty sure Mr. Ridley, hopefully learns something and does not go down the same path as Pete Rose, where if he has a chance to go into the Hall of Fame, gets shut out. Because as great as Pete Rose was, rules are in place for a reason. And he messed up on same thing, not abiding by the rules. So, if one guy is in one area of sport, is going through something like that, this is going to go across all the major league sports franchises and the leagues.
I think the NFL a bunch of clowns. I tell you why. Because first of all, I've been talking about this since all these teams started talking about we're going to have advertising by all these betting sites. This is what happens when you get greedy for the money. Because for years, Tyrone's right. The NFL was like, if you even sniffed or even say anything about betting, it was like this. And this is nothing new, gang. This is nothing new. This goes all the way back to the foundation of the NFL because why? It's like they said, the biggest reason why we're giving this suspension is because we don't want the fans to think the okey doke is going on one of the games that a player or a coach might for a bet. But here's what I'm thinking to myself. If you knew that, why on earth would you get in the bed with contracts from all these major legal betting entities, including the Las Vegas Raiders? Will next year have the first stadium you can bet parlays at the stadium. Now, I'm just saying, if you're so anti-betting, why would you do that? The other thing, too, I'm always baffled about. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you go ahead. I'll say what I say after.
The other thing that gets me is you're so against betting, but yet it's a fine if you don't come out and disclose the injuries of your players and stats and stuff like that. Why do they do that? It's a fine because they don't want to mess up the betting line and the bettors. So I'm just saying. It just seems to be a. I'm not trying to say that Tyrone. I mean that Calvin was wrong, was right to do this because the rules are in place. It's very very straightforward. You can't do it. It's not a racial thing. It's not a. Oh, I'm picking on your team. This has been going on since the '60s. One of the first major players to get hit with this was the late great Paul Hornung. The guy was an MVP in the league. Also, Alex Karras, who's a great defensive tackle back in the day with your Detroit Lions. Both of these guys were suspended for a whole year in their prime. Why? Because they were in Vegas betting.
Right. But I do want to say the NFL is not against betting. So they are
I know that.
the players betting and the coaches and people that are involved with the NFL. But they love the money. We all know that the NFL and a lot of their owners, they like the money that they're getting from the bets that are being placed, but they just don't want their players a part of it. And again, it's something that they tell the players each and every year. So it's not like they just tell you when you first come into the NFL. Every single year, this is in your agreement. Every single year, you have a meeting and they discuss it. So it is definitely known. And like Tyrone said, and like our guest said, rules are rules, and you have to follow the rules.
Yeah, and I add on what Tree's saying. You know, rules are rules. There's no excuses, Jonathan. They can be made. No excuses. The point is, the players do get so that betting money that you're talking about. That's why they just came up with the new CBA. The new CBA, so the players got some of that betting money. So again, I hear where you're going. If you're gonna tell or make a statement, let's make the whole statement. Now let's go state something that's true or say something that's a true statement. Let's make sure we add in the other. So yes, you say the NFL allowed these betting teams to come in or contract, but also they just did the new CBA as well, right? So
Right.
the NFL players and retired players got extra money, right? So,
Right.
like I said, we go deep into this thing. Everybody want to pull their sides, but let's come into the middle and really look at it, all right, what it really is. Everybody's benefiting.
Well, one guy ain't benefiting. He just traded $1,500 for $11 million. But I tell you what's benefiting, the Atlanta Falcons. Because as you point out, Tyrone, Falcons are very, very happy about the situation because according to my understanding, like you said earlier, guess what they don't have to do in 2022? They don't have to pay $11 million. It goes back to the kitty. So now suddenly the cap poor Falcons, they got a little room to maneuver.
And he owes them another year.
And how about that?
And then also, you know, really the Falcons are the one that's probably, it's like good and bad. They don't have to pay him, but at the same time, they were looking to probably trade him. So really, this situation has kind of like made a big mess out of everything. So now the Falcons now have to go back to their next strategy to try to do whatever. So it's a lot of things that has caused some problems. We're not just paying him the salary.
Oh, yeah. So at the end of the day, it's going to be interesting how the Falcons use this. Like I say, again, to me, it actually is going to help them more than hurt them. Yes, you're right. They're going to have to look for a number one receiver without potentially getting any immediate compensation for Calvin Ridley. But at the end of the day, it clears up $11 million in cap space. And for the Falcons, that's like they were over the cap. So now they have $11 million to maneuver. You'll probably see some changes in the draft. I would not be shocked if they don't go after one of these star receivers in the draft. I don't think they were going to do that before this situation, but I think that you'll see in one of those early rounds, they'll go after one of these highly touted wide receivers to bring them in. And you know, Tyrone, how many years do you have to be under that minimum contract? How many years are you under? Is it 2, 3?
Pose that question again.
How long are you under the minimum contract as a rookie in the NFL? How many years?
About the rookie contract.
Yeah, so like if you're drafted, let's say if you're drafted a second round pick, what's your initial contract? Is that a 2-year? I mean, I guess it depends a little bit on the team. What would be the max contract that you would be under that first deal that you get when you get drafted?
Well, it depends on the round.
Okay.
So if you're a first round draft pick, they're probably going to try to tie you down for about 5 years.
Okay.
But if your agent is smart, he's not going to let that 5-year go all the way to the end. He's going to probably have some type of renegotiation or whatever, the second year, the third year option. you know, and then the team, if they're smart, they're not going to get caught up in that 5 year, but they put it out there for 5 years. So in case you do pay it out, you turn out to be something, then you can come back all you want to the first, second, and third year. They're going to say you up on a contract for 5 years. But at the same time, they got that option in there that if, you know, it don't pay it out, then we can get rid of your butt in, you know, the third year. So, you know, those contracts, man, you got to have a good agent. Like I said, the higher you go up in the rounds, you got to have a real good contract. And the lower, well, you know what? All rounds, you got to have a good agent. So
I'm sure.
You got to make sure you get that money. But I want to propose this question to you guys. This is a non-Falcons situation.
It's okay.
Now, Aaron Rodgers, who played behind Brett Favre. Okay. Jordan Love. Now, the word is that Aaron Rodgers may go back to the Packers. Okay. Now, Carolina is saying that they are open ears to trade talks for Christian McCaffrey. Now, if you're the Packers and you know that the Panthers are looking for a quarterback, do you say, okay, we will send Jordan Love to Carolina for Christian McCaffrey and whatever other compensation the Panthers would want? And if that were to happen, what type of offense do you think the Green Bay Packers would have if Christian McCaffrey were to go to the Green Bay and play with the Packers?
Well, Tree, you want to kind of grab on that one first, and I'll jump in.
I do, but first I wanted to make the comment that I wanted to make about what was said before that, and then I'll answer that question. But
Okay.
I just wanted to say that I do think that the Falcons were actually looking to get a wide receiver just because of what they went through this past season with Calvin Ridley and just everything that happened with the wide receivers. And thankfully for them, there's a lot of great wide receivers in this NFL draft. So I think that they'll be good and get some great picks. But to Tyrone's question, I personally do not think that it would be good for the Packers to trade him, because you do want to have a great backup for Aaron Rodgers. And so you know that he's probably going to play another maybe 3, 4, 5 years, right? And then after that, you want somebody who is going to be very productive and help your team. And so if he's playing behind him and you guys are preparing him, then he'll be ready. I think that he's a great quarterback. So me personally, if I was the Green Bay Packers, I would not trade him to Carolina.
But what if you're Jordan Love, though? You like Jordan Love, you're going to get your money now. You don't want to play no more behind Aaron Rodgers for 3, 4, 5 more years. If he plays for 5 years, say, if they do sign Aaron Rodgers for 4 years, okay, you know they're going to play him. Right now with Tom Brady being retired, I think Aaron Rodgers is probably the best quarterback in the NFL. So if they do sign him to 4 years, that means Jordan Love got to sit for another 4 years, which means there's 4 years that he won't be able to get a big-time contract. So the question is, do you leave now and say, you know what, I want my money? Or do you say, I'd rather play behind Aaron Rodgers for another 3 years and hopefully see how things go with that? But I understand your point, from an organization standpoint, you don't want to trade it. But if I'm Jordan Love, I tell my agent, man, get me up out of here, man. I'm trying to go make my money.
Well, funny you should mention that, because all reports that have been popping on social media for about the last 3 to 6 hours is that Aaron Rodgers will be staying with Green Bay. Allegedly, the Packers are going to, or at least have been floating out an offer that would make him the highest paid player in NFL history, a staggering, I shouldn't say history, per year, because Mahomes has the biggest contract. I think it's $500 billion, but they're looking to pay him $50 million a year for the next 4 years, a $200 million contract. That's what's been quoted now by SB Nation and by Sports Illustrated, that the Packers have on the table for Rodgers to be a $50 million man to stay in Green Bay.
And guess where some of that money came from? The betting contract.
Wow, there you go.
Them company that signed that betting contract with the NFL.
Show me the money, my friend. I smell the money.
I was just waiting for you to finish them numbers, man. I was just waiting for you to finish those numbers.
He opened the door.
I know, right?
Well, listen, that's why I keep these shades all right-handed. right here, because I'm gonna go up to Vegas and hit that money too. I'm going out there. Okay, let me just be quiet because preacher's not supposed to be out there gambling. All right, guys, listen, we're gonna come back a little bit more. We're gonna close out with some more Falcons talk, and hopefully get a little opinion from D-Led from what he saw in the final days of the combine out there in the Midwest. We'll be back with more Real Talk Sports in just a moment. Don't go nowhere.
Did you know that Allen Vigil Ford in Morrow, Georgia also has Lincoln? Over 35 years of using the Vigil Touch to provide excellent customer service, works hand in hand with the Lincoln Motor Company to provide a luxurious and seamless way to acquire your next luxury vehicle. Lincoln has an array of full-service complimentary owner benefits. These benefits include hospitality partnerships, service pickup and delivery, all which can be accessed through the Lincoln Way app. You can even contact the 24/7 concierge to have someone assist you. Come and see our great inventory of new and pre-owned Lincolns today. Call 678-364-7345 to make an appointment with one of our brand champions or shop 24/7 online at allenvigillincoln.net. The day has arrived. It's time to let more people know about your business. You have the right marketing plan and the messaging in place. But do you have the right messenger? Good advertising and promotions need a professional sound so the message can be clearly understood. Don't leave your brand image to chance. Let our team of voiceover experts at CME lend you a hand. Give us a call at 678-304-8121 to find out how we can partner with you to give your business its voice.
And we are back here for the final segment of the Real Talk Sports Show. Right next to me is the lovely queen herself, Miss Tree Dolman. And right beneath us there is the two-time champion and now Hall of Famer, Mr. Tyrone Poole for Fort Valley State Sports Hall of Fame, to be exact. So it's interesting what's all going on with the NFL. Combines are here. Tyrone, you talked about last week how it's crazy that the defensive backs just run that 40 and don't do any type of, something, maybe a shuttle drill backwards or running backwards, something like that. But it's in. The word is in. The Georgia boys acquitted themselves very, very well, including the big man himself, Jordan Davis, at 341 pounds, running a stunning 4.7840, which is mind-boggling. Think about that much weight moving down on you that quick. Well, we want to hear it from the horse's mouth. This gentleman about to bring on is the embedded beat writer for AJC Sports for the Atlanta Falcons. He is an award-winning sports writer, and he is also Esquire par excellence. The one and only D. Orlando Ledbetter is back in the building. D-Led, welcome back, sir.
Hey, Reverend, thanks for having me. Sorry for being late. Was coming over from a frat meeting on the other Zoom line there, but thanks for having me tonight. I'll be short so we can get going here.
All right, sir. Of course, everybody wants to know that social media comments have been blowing up. I'm sorry, guys. I couldn't quite see them here. I'm going to pull you up on the screen. Let's see it here. Todd was talking just to close out about Rodgers. He's saying $156 million is actually guaranteed money. And they said the Packers want him back because Jordan Love can't play right now. So there it is. D-Led, okay, let's get to the point, sir. What did you see at the Combine, especially for those people who are Falcons fans thinking, man, what can we look forward to?
Well, certainly, some of the there are a lot of things that they need. We came back, had that confirmed that, there's nothing on their plate that, that they, do not need. They have a tight end and a quarterback. So, everything's open. The word on the streets was that they were going to look at wide receiver first and edge rusher second. They do have 2 picks in the second round. If an edge rusher doesn't slip to them at 8, they definitely know a receiver will be there, and so will a cornerback. Maybe Sauce, my man Gordon, Gardner from the University of Cincinnati. So the Falcons are primed to take the best player available, no matter what position, because they have a lot of needs, and the coach said that we have a lot of needs, and like a lot of other teams. But there's some other teams that don't have that many needs. So they're rebuilding. It's a sad reality. They've been trying to dance around it, but that they can't block. They got to solidify the line. They got to find a pass rush. They don't know what to do with Grady Jarrett and Deion Jones, 2 of the better players under the former system. their rookie class came in, didn't really light it up. They're working real hard to build what they say is a championship roster. And so that's where we're at with the Atlanta Falcons in a rebuilding situation, and hoping that they can get some things right here and we'll start seeing some positive movement in the future.
Tree, questions for D-Led?
So I know you said they're looking to get a wide receiver first. Do we know which wide receivers are top on their list?
Yes, we do. Mr. Drake London from USC, the Burks kid, and the two Ohio State kids, Williams and Olave. Jameson from Alabama is, they can't draft him at 8. He's not ready to play. He's hurt.
Right.
Those are the 4 that we've been, ordered to kind of look after. And that's where we're at with the wide receiver group. George Pickens from Georgia is in the next group of receivers. If they don't get him there in the first round, they'll have a shot at some pretty good receivers in the second and the third. But, you want an alpha dog receiver, and you don't get them in the second round and third rounds. You get them up high in the draft. So whatever you get at number 8, it better be very good.
Tyrone.
D-Led, with Calvin Ridley, he just got in trouble. So with that $11 million, so to speak, how do you think that's going to change the approach of the Atlanta Falcons? Do you think they try to use some of that money to dip into free agency now, and maybe in the draft they go all one side of the ball? Let's use our draft picks on the defensive side, just like one year Carolina did. They use all their draft picks on the defensive side. Or what are you thinking that the Falcons are thinking right now?
Yeah, I'm thinking, they told us that they can't go in the free agency on the first day. He even said, well, we're not going to be making a big splash, so D-Led could be out there tweeting. So they don't have the money, Tyrone. They got to wait. He told me I ain't going to be tweeting on the first day of free agency. So that means I start, instead of looking at the top of the free agency class, I got to look from the bottom. Okay, I got to look and see who played in Chicago. That Dave Ragone knows. I gotta look and see who played, where these coaches have been, because that's who they're gonna be cutting deals with. We saw that last year with Patterson, Deron Harmon, Eric Harris. We gotta be looking at old Saints that have a little bit left in the tank. Old Chicago Bears, where New England Patriots, wherever these guys have been. Because that's where they're gonna be signing players from. And then the draft, just take the best players. You got playing time, you got opportunity. You that's what you got to sell. You got a good city, you got opportunity, and you don't have a lot of money. And that's bad in professional football when you're trying to pay to get the best players in here.
Let me ask you another question. How has this affected the owner? Has he felt the pinch? With that stadium is not that old, and I know it's a lot of money that took to build it, and really the city is counting on him filling up Mr. Blank, should I say, filling up that stadium. So with that rebuilding, it looks kind of tough.
Yeah, but the fans aren't coming anyway. So put a good team together. However long it takes. When I talked to him in LA, he seemed to be fine. He seemed to be proud of the fact that when the fans do come, they have a great fan experience. I mentioned the PSLs being an issue. He said he didn't. It hadn't gotten to him that the PSLs were an issue. So his business people are blocking it. It hadn't gotten to him yet. But he is proud of the fact that when the fans do come, they have a good experience at the stadium. I don't know if he goes by those numbers they release. His business people, give him them tickets distributed number, and he's just blind that the people aren't there. But winning football in Atlanta, you got to win. It's not Detroit and Cleveland where they're coming anyway. Atlanta's a front runner town, so you got to get hot some kind of way and put some wins up and beat the Saints and get the people interested in the team again.
Yeah, 'cause I was about to say, sound like Detroit, man. Arthur Blank beginning to sound like the Ford family, man.
Now the Ford family, the Detroit people go to the games. They go to Ford Field no matter what, man.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. We're not fair weather fans in Detroit. Win or lose, we support our Lions.
And they start playing that Ted Nugent cat scratch fever, and they start getting fired up in there, and then Aaron Rodgers throws 4 touchdowns, and they go home sad again. But they're there, and they're engaged. I love going to Detroit.
Yeah, no doubt. You're right, D-Led. I mean, Atlanta is a Showtime city. It's all about show me. It's all about the entertainment. Yeah, we did have some people going early on because number one, Falcons were just coming off disappointing loss, but coming off a Super Bowl season, did go to the playoffs that first year, and you had so many visitors. I thought some people actually signed on for the PSLs, and they were saying that first 2 years that they just had a blast. They said because there were so many people coming in, sports teams from all over around the world checking out Mercedes-Benz. At that time, they were very strict on people letting friends and family members who weren't supposed to be in certain spots in. So the clientele was really just top shelf. But ever since then, man, it's been between the bad play of the Falcons and everything that you're seeing, man, it's just really not must-see TV anymore. So they're really going to have to put a good product on the floor. Now, I'm going to ask you this, D-Led. So everybody keeps talking about best player available. All right. You're at selection number 8. And according to all the numbers and the metrics you have, the best player is from Liberty, and he plays quarterback, Malik Willis. Are you going to draft him or no?
I'm going to trade with Pittsburgh and get me some draft picks. That's what I'm going to do. He's not going to be the best player. He's not number 8. He can't. He's not. He's like 20-something. And there's nothing he can do to go up. I mean, you got the 3 tackles. You got those guys. You got the tight ends. You got the 2 rushers. There's no way for Malik to be the number 8 guy. You don't need him when you can't block and tackle. But
Okay.
if they rate him the 8th guy, that's who they're taking. And
Okay,
that'd be fine with me, and that get you excited and the fans excited. But then Malik's gonna be running for his life behind this line. So I mean, then you're gonna be like mad because he's hurt. It's like, why didn't y'all get Malik some blocking? So let Malik go to Pittsburgh, and Coach Mike can handle that. Seattle needs a quarterback now. Washington, the Commodores. That's what I'm calling the new team because it's easy like Sunday morning in the district. Some people need some football teams, but I wouldn't mind them coming home. That'll get the people excited, but I know that's not the best football move for them. But, if they think it is, hey, they're smarter than us, and maybe they could find some linemen somewhere later on in the draft and in free agency.
Well, we're going to do this as we close here. I'm going to let this young man come in here one more time. Juan, your thoughts here about the Falcons. Who would you like to see them draft in that first round? Would you, if Malik Willis, that flashy quarterback, was available, would you draft him, yay or no?
I would. I wouldn't mind drafting him. The problem is, is he going to stay? Is he going to stay behind, Matty Ice for a year like everybody else does? But if he doesn't, if he wants to start right away, how are you going to hold him back from starting? And I like Matty, but he doesn't seem too. He hasn't seemed too consistent, and I don't blame all on him.
Mm-hmm.
D-Led, I'm going to put you on the spot really quickly here. And before we go, early prognosis.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think the Falcons might pick at that number 8 slot?
Yeah, I'm going to do my first mock draft this week. I got a few things rolling around in my head. One of them is trading that pick to Pittsburgh, like I mentioned here. Trayvon Walker from Georgia's in there. I like Jordan Davis. I don't see why people are down on him. Sauce Gardner from UC is a possibility. And like our young friend here said, if you get Willis, then he sits for a year like Patrick Mahomes did. But my problem with Willis is that they passed on Jalen Fields last year. They passed on Jalen Fields and Mac Jones. So if they passed on Jalen or Justin Fields, this kid's not as good as Justin was. So I can't see them taking him at 8. So that's why I'm thinking you go big. And who's the biggest, baddest cat in this draft? His name's Jordan Davis. So that's what I'm thinking right now. You got Georgia Bulldog. People get excited. He gets back there and starts twirling that Saints quarterback around. Man, that'll get the Mercedes-Benz rocking again.
Listen, let me tell you something.
All I want to say is when I first moved to Atlanta, literally everywhere I went and literally pretty much anybody I saw, when it was the football season, everybody had on Michael Vick jerseys. Everybody was talking about going to the games. You could tell that the city was just buzzing and they could not wait to go and cheer on Michael Vick and the Falcons. And the dome was just, it was just, it was an elated place and just an atmosphere that was phenomenal. And so they did defend the dome a lot of times because they won at home because the fans were there and they showed out. So I'm looking forward to whoever they bring in this year and next year, because we know they probably can't get it all done in one season. But I'm looking forward to seeing that atmosphere in Atlanta again and seeing all the fans excited and can't wait to go to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium and cheer on the Falcons.
Well, I tell you this real quick. I know we're coming to the end. I kind of agree with D-Led on the first point as far as trading. I think what the Falcons need to do, they need to pull a 1989 Dallas Cowboys when Jimmy Johnson came in there and he took the biggest, baddest thing that he had. And you know what? Let's ship it off and let's try to get as many draft picks as we can. And you know what was so smart about that thing that Jimmy Johnson did, let you know how smart of a coach he was. It was tagged that if they cut the player or if the player made the team, that they would owe Minnesota a higher draft. So he ended up cutting the players, and really they didn't get nothing for the guys, so to speak, but they got draft picks. It was just smart how Jimmy Johnson did it. But I think this is probably an area where the Falcons probably need to see what they got and, try to build for the future, just like D-Led said. They don't want to say it, but that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it myself. I just don't know which direction they're going to go to. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what they do going forward. And we're looking forward to see what's going to happen. Well, speaking of seeing what's going to happen here, how these guys, when we get to the end of the broadcast, we go around the building so people can find out more about our guests. So, D. Orlando Ledbetter, the floor is yours.
Yes, Reverend. Thank you. You can find me on Twitter at DOrlandoAJC, on AJC.com, and on Instagram at DOrlandoLed. Thanks for having me.
Hey, I got to ask you before you go, D-Led. Was that your line name? Lightning Led? Was that your line name?
No. My line name was Pigpen, but that's what everybody called me in high school. That was my sports name. Basketball, football, baseball. I wasn't as fast as you, but that was fast enough for them to call me Lightning Led.
I was thinking the same thing, Tyrone. I thought that was your line name.
Hey, where's D-Led? Q dog.
All right, sir. Until next week, God bless you and have a wonderful rest of your evening, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Tyrone Poole, the floor is yours.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Tyrone Poole, 38. All social media. Thank you,
sir.
Thank you, Tree. Thank you, everybody. And you guys have a great rest of your day, night.
All right. We're going to go to our friend, Mr. Juan Roman, sir. How can people find out more about you?
Well, the disclaimer was that I was going to say I just came down. Have some things in the works. I've been doing background acting. I was recently in the movie Queens. I'm still doing a couple of other stuff. I'm also looking to put up a radio podcast. Um, I appreciate you, Mr. Simmons, letting me come on this platform. And I'm also on social media, still working with that. My wife, who Nicole Roman, who's a marketing, she's helping me put things up. So you'll hear from me. You'll hear from me.
We look forward to it, sir. God bless you and have a great day. Miss Tree Dolman, the floor. Oh, let me see if I can get you back here. Come on. There we go. The floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. First, I would like to say happy International Women's Day to all of the fabulous women in the world. We know how valuable we are to the world and to our families and our loved ones. And you can find me on all social media at It's Latresa, as well as Ms. America International 2021.
There we go. We're going to keep that, freeze it right there, guys, because our producer got a little jittery hand there. But there she is right there. You can see it on social media. It's Latresa or Miss America International 2020, which took me about 6 months to get that right. But that's another story. All right. Go. Keep adding myself, doing all kind of strange things. Here I am right there. Okay. You can find out more about me. It's real simple. Follow me on social media. Follow the show first at Real Talk Sports, the number 7, or you can follow me at Minister J. Sims. You also can reach me via email, jsimmons@realtalksports.net, or you can simply give me a call, 678-410-9833. Want to encourage you, as I always do, if you don't know the Lord, if you don't have a relationship with him, get to know his son, Jesus Christ. Why? Because he loved you. He died for you and he rose from the dead with a wonderful thing called salvation, so that 2 great things can happen. Number 1, you become a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. And number 2, you become an adoptive child of God and have all the rights therein. That means you can go to God for anything you desire or need, and according to his will, he will give it unto you. And then when you have to leave this place, you know how it is, we all got to die. You get to go to that wonderful place called heaven, where there's no pain, no pandemic, no protests, no wars, no anything like that at all. Just happy people, loving people, no pain. You never die. It's sunny all the time. And you get to see mighty Yahashua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ, face to face, and all those loved ones who are also believers that have gone on before you. And you avoid that nasty place called hell, where all the things that are in heaven will not be in hell. So it'll be bad people. It'll smell. It'll be dark. It'll be a lot of pain. And you'll be cut off from all your loved ones. And more importantly, cut off from the Lord forever and a day. And I don't know about you, but I like option number 1 instead of option number 2. All right, guys, instead of the next time, please stay safe, be blessed. And we'll see you again real soon.
Bye.
So long.